Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV for a very, very, very exciting and big show today. It's Simply Tarot's 13th birthday, so I'm a little bit like a proud mum, you might say, with our project that was launched here in Australia 13 years ago. But before we move the show into that, I'd like you to just take a brief second to really sort of all join together for the people in Pittsburgh that lost loved ones over the weekend with that terrible shooting in the synagogue. I just can't begin to imagine what people are going through with the loss of, loved ones, family, friends, and, a place of worship where we all think that we're safe no matter what our religion is or what our belief systems are. There's certain places on the planet that we believe that we can take our family and friends to and we should be safe. I mean, also our hearts go out to the people that lost loved ones in that terrible plane crash too that I heard about this morning as I was getting ready for the show here in Australia. So I know it happened 24 hours or so ago. It takes me a little bit of time to catch up sometimes with all the news. But, our hearts go out to everybody and let's keep them in our prayers and thoughts. So let's get on with the show. I'm so excited. We have so much exciting things to talk about here on the show. But can I say something really exciting first off before we sort of move into Simply Tarot's birthday? Here at A1R Psychic Radio, as of next week, the Tuesday night shows will be moving to a daytime time slot in America. My show will actually move to 5 p.m. USA Eastern Time. So this opens up a much wider audience for our UK and Ireland and United Kingdom sort of viewers that they can watch it at a reasonable sort of hour. The rest of the shows will stay on the regular nights with their regular time slots. But I'm very excited about it here from Australia because I already have a very big audience over in the UK, having worked on different programs over there over the years. So it's really exciting for me to be able to go back to sort of old home week and reconnect with people that haven't sort of been able to catch up with in years. So let's get on with the Simply Tarot card of the week. Being Simply Tarot's birthday, it was really interesting because the card that came out was the Death card. And at first, my first instinct, I'll put that one away, it's so negative. Why would we bring that out on Simply Tarot's birthday? And then I thought, no, hang on a minute. The Death card actually means death of situation or ending and new beginnings. And I thought, well, how apt is that? Because this is the end of this time slot for my show on a Tuesday night, and we're moving now into a Tuesday afternoon time slot as of next week. It's Simply Tarot's 13th birthday, so we're now entering into our 14th year that this project has been out in the marketplace. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal for a little product here from Australia. And we've got so many changes coming up around the world at the moment. I mean, for us here in Australia, we are actually in Halloween today, and, it is growing in momentum here. We'll have children knocking on the door in a few hours' time trick-or-treating, and I've got all my little goodies ready for them. So, but for our overseas visitors, I know that we're still 24 hours away from it, but it is the time, if I can take the time to mention what Halloween means to me, and it's not just about candy for the kids and trick-or-treating. For spiritual sort of people, it is really a time when the veil is at its thinnest. It's the time when psychics and mediums do their best work because we are able to connect with the other side in a much deeper, clearer sort of channel than at any other time of the year. So it's actually a very apt card on every level for everyone that sort of says that, okay, it's one door closing, another one opening. Let's sort of close off some of the things in our lives that no longer serve us and let's open up for new opportunities that are going to come our way. So it's a really positive card. I've always actually liked the Death card, but I'm very conscious of a lot of people sort of go, oh, no, not the Death card. That means something horrible. Well, it doesn't. It is actually a very bright and positive card. So I'm not going to take a little glimpse around the universe this week, and I'm not going to sort of talk about somebody famous in astrological terms. I'm going to spend that time talking to you about Simply Tarot, and I suppose I should show you what I'm talking about. This was my baby that was launched 13 years ago. I'll put it there so everybody can see it. Here in Australia, and we went worldwide. It's a Teach Yourself Tarot set, if I can put it there so you can see my face. Teach Yourself Tarot set that actually has a book, DVD, and tarot cards. Now, it was something that was always my life's work was tarot. It was something that I was very, very passionate about. And when I got approached from an international Australian publisher about producing a tarot book for them, and they were going to turn it into a DVD as well, I thought, oh, yes, well, that's right up my alley. I've been teaching tarot in excess of well over 25 years. I'd taken it to the local college system here in Australia. I was the first teacher to do that. I'd had a number of firsts with my teaching over the years, and I believed I had a fairly simple, easy to follow method that everybody could sort of grasp and learn the basics of tarot, and then build upon that themselves with their own flair and flavour and the way that they wanted to conduct their readings. So I thought, well, this will be a piece of cake. So I didn't know anything about copyright laws or, licensing agreements or anything. So I just sort of said to them, well, look, I've always worked and used the Rider-Waite deck, most popular deck in the world, and that's what we're going to base this around, and that's what my teaching's always been based around. And I thought it'd be pretty simple. They'd just get in touch with someone and buy, a few dozen sets of cards and off we'd go. Well, it wasn't quite that simple, because when they looked into it and, they approached the producers of the Rider-Waite deck, and there was two schools that actually produced the cards, neither one of them really wanted to give an agreement for them to be used in a deck, in a kit to go around the world. I bet they're kicking themselves today, because we've had huge sales around the world, and we were on the bestsellers list here in Australia within hours of the project being released here in Australia. So it's really interesting that, the US Game Systems and Muller out of Germany turned Hinkler Books down here in Australia. So we then had to put our thinking cap on it, what we were going to work with. And look, they sent me so many different samples of probably 400 different tarot decks, and every single one I'd say, no. They just didn't have the right feel, or they didn't have the right imagery. And I eventually sort of said to them, look, this is just not going to work. We've got to come up with another concept. So I was up doing some other work with a graphic designer friend of mine. I'd just been into one of the television channels here and shot a TV commercial for my business, and I'd popped in to have coffee with a friend before I drove back to the Gold Coast, which is about a 3-hour drive from where I used to have my TV commercials produced. And I said to him, this is what was going on. And he said, well, why don't you put to them that you can do a modern deck? He said, you could do some purpose shot photographs and make it really ultra modern, and that'd bring it into the 21st century. He said, look, if you like, I'll do you up a couple of mock cards. I'll email them to you. You can present them and see what they think. So we did that, and the publisher actually liked that idea, thought this was a good idea. So all systems go. We were ready to shoot a very ultra modern deck. Got excited and had to do a dozen cards as a sample, and they started taking them to the buyers, and they all hated it. They all said, oh, look, lovely cards, but they're going to date. You'll be lucky to get one print run out of them. That'll be a waste of an investment of all that money. So then I was very disappointed, and one of the owners of Hinkler Books lived locally here, and him and I got together in my office, and he said, we've got to come up with a solution. He said, we just can't let this go. And he had a real belief in that tarot would work. So I printed out everything I had, hung it up around the office, put the kettle on. We drank I don't know how many cups of coffee and herbal tea, and we're sitting there both sort of looking at all these pictures and drawings and diagrams and ideas hanging up around the office. And at exactly the same time, we both had the epiphany moment. We both said at the same time, why can't we take the photographic concept and recreate the Rider deck that everybody knows and loves? And we both burst out laughing and said, well, that only took 18 cups of coffee to get to this point, but it must be the right answer. So that's what we did. We mocked up a couple of Rider cards, sent them down by express on a plane to the publisher in Melbourne, and they took them directly to the buyers, and they loved it. So then it was all systems go. We produced the Simply Tarot deck and filmed the DVD and wrote the book in less than 3 months, which was a major feat. All hands on deck. I'd never written a book before, and I had to adapt what I'd been teaching all these years into a concept that could be translated into a book, but could also mirror image in a DVD, so that people that liked the visual had the DVD, people that liked the book had that. They went hand in hand. And it was during that process of doing all that, and I had the spreads down pat that I knew would work, that were timeless, that had worked time and time and time again. It was just a matter of of getting the diagrams drawn up in the book so that people could follow it and following it on the screen. So I suppose I was fortunate enough at that point. I'd gone into another partnership with somebody that had just come out of 30 years of television, and we won the contract to do the DVD, and it was our very, very first project, I might say. So I had to quickly put my business partner through a tarot course with me so that he had a full understanding of what the tarot meant in the process of when we knew we were going to be filming this. And luckily I did, because he was able to pick up a couple of mistakes where somebody had inadvertently moved a card from one location to the other, and he just knew intuitively it didn't feel right, or it wasn't right, it wasn't the right flow. So we picked up on mistakes before they actually went to press and print, which was really lucky for us. But on the upside, it made the project come to life, I think, in a much more magical sort of way, because him and I had worked together previously on other projects, and we knew how each other worked, and we knew just intuitively what the next scene was going to be or how we were going to do something. So the project came together really, really well and really easily. So the Simply Tarot project, in the process of doing all that, I came up with the idea of let's put the basic meaning on the bottom of the card. And I know you won't be probably able to see this on the screen, but down the bottom here, we have the basic meaning printed on the card. Now, what that did was it revolutionised teaching of tarot, in my opinion. The biggest thing that the students struggled with was being able to flick through their notes and try and not lose their place of what they were getting psychically or intuitively in the reading, and then going back and looking at what the basic meaning of the card was. It made it so much simpler for everybody to be able to be on the same page. They didn't get struck with, oh, hang on a minute, I've got nothing coming to me. Even if they had nothing coming to them, they had the basic meaning on the bottom of the card to give them a starting point. And it gave them a point of focus. And, you know, when I went back teaching with this deck, the very first time, what normally we would allocate 3 or 4 hours for, we got through that work in an hour. And I thought, my goodness, what am I going to do for the rest of the workshop, you know, rest of the course? And then it dawned on me, well, of course, you're going to be able to focus on getting them to just continue to work with the cards and strengthen their ability, which you never had the luxury of time over a 2-day weekend to do, because by the time you reaffirmed what you were teaching them and made sure that they were comfortable and fully understood it, and it became easy and natural to them, there was only so much time allocated to each section of the course. So this really did revolutionise the way that I taught tarot. And it was just something that, you know, as soon as it landed overseas, everybody was emailing me and saying, wow, I love this, you know, this is amazing. Can we use this in our classroom? Can we use this in, you know, in our bookshop? Can we teach with your cards? And my answer to everybody was yes, that's what it was designed for. It wasn't designed just purely for the publisher and I to make money out of. This was meant to be a teaching tool that was easily accessible to everybody at a very cost-effective price, that everybody could afford it. I suppose the one thing that people sort of said to me over the years, oh, look, Amanda, I'd just like to buy the cards without the book and the DVD. And I did approach the publishers about that, and they kept on saying, no, well, their way of doing things was they do kits. They do things that you buy the whole package. It is something since then, over the years, I have looked at doing myself now that I have the rights to the Simply Tarot cards and have had for a couple of years, because the publishers went on to bring out our sister product called Secrets of Tarot, and that's their latest baby. So actually Simply Tarot is now no longer in print as such with Hinkler Books. So if you are lucky enough to find one in your local bookshop, you'll be extremely lucky. We still have a number here in stock here at Amanda Hall Psychic, because we bought up a number of packages of them many, many times over the years. So it is a rare product now. It is out of print, and it is something that, you know, it's still my baby. I may decide one day to just produce the Simply Tarot cards on their own. It's not something that I've really decided yet whether I want to do or I don't want to do. Particularly while we still have kits in stock, I'd rather still sell them as the kit, because that's what they were. They were a teach yourself kit. And, the cards are reasonably good quality. I get probably 3 or 4 years out of my deck, and I use mine nearly every day. So I hope that's sort of given you a little bit more of understanding of how Simply Tarot came to be. It is an amazing product. We've had so many accolades from around the world from people that sort of say that it was their beginning deck. It's a deck that they still go back to, that the meaning of the card on the bottom doesn't interfere with them working with them professionally. Everybody sort of comments on the actual people that we chose for the models to represent the energy of the card, that how apt they were, how comfortable it was. The only thing that we didn't have live was a lion. And I think you can probably understand, nobody I knew had a lion roaming around their backyard that we could go and take some shots of for the strength card. But other than that, all the dogs, all the people, all the horses, all the whatevers were all real, live people, animals that were used, and a lot of the scenery was shot here in southeast Queensland, and everything was deliberately shot a certain way to mirror image as much as possible that we could to honour Arthur Edward Waite, who designed the Rider-Waite deck, and his artist Pamela Coleman Smith. And I can assure you there was many times during the project that I believed Arthur and Pamela were sitting on my shoulder, sort of tapping me on the shoulder saying, no, that's not right, you've got to do it this way, or no, that's not what we meant. And there was many arguments along the way with the publisher because they didn't understand why, if I said there had to be a green shoe on one foot and a pink one on the other, there was a meaning to that, and it didn't look correct to them on a graphic artist point of view. And I'd say no, and they'd say, oh, well, and we'd try and strike a compromise, but I always won because it was, at the end of the day, I kept reminding them it was my name that was going to this project, and if it wasn't authentic, it wouldn't work. And I think eventually they got that concept that it had to remain authentic as possible to the original teachings of the tarot. And I often feel Arthur and Pamela are around me, and I know that they're equally as proud of this project as we all are, of, having had the opportunity to work with this over the years. And it's still my favourite deck. It's the one that I use every day. Even though Secrets of Tarot has been out about 18 months now, I haven't actually ever worked with them. I mean, I have them, yes, but this is my baby. So we're going to go on and take our first caller, and I know we're going to Nevada. We are going to Maria in Reno in Nevada. Are you there, Maria?
I am here.
How can I help you tonight,
Hello.
sweetie? Do you have a question for me?
Well, we have a friend that passed away last year, and she recently has been manifesting on a lot of people's dreams.
Right.
So we were wondering what message she has for us.
Okay, she's not necessarily going to come through in a public forum like this and give me an individual or a private or personal message for you. What I can share with you, when somebody that's passed over comes back to you or many people in their dreams, what that is then that's her personal way of connecting with each and every one of you. It's her personal message. It's not necessarily something that she wants broadcast. Sometimes they get excited on the other side when they're first able to make contact with one person. They'll go down the list and they'll contact a number of people in their dreams or whatever way they've been able to get your attention, and that might only be a one-off. So please don't be disappointed if 9 out of 10 people on the list never get another dream about it. It doesn't mean she doesn't love them or doesn't care for them. She'll single out one person, usually 1 or 2 people, that she feels the strongest connection with from the other side. Not necessarily the strongest relationship she had here on earth, but the strongest one she can connect with from the other side will be who she will channel her messages through. She is very strong around you. The only thing that she sort of shared with me, what are the question marks? Has there been a question around her death, has there?
Yeah. Well, we still pass over her death.
You still what about her death, sweetie? Right, that's what I mean. There's a question mark around. She's showing me there's a question mark that nobody's got an answer yet to what actually happened.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's telling me that you haven't got the answers yet. So no matter what you've discovered or what you've been told or what's been shared with you, you still haven't got the answer yet. That's what she's sharing with me.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'm taking it from that. She's certainly not going to share it. She's certainly not going to share it with me live on air to send around the world today. But what she wants you to acknowledge is the fact that she is making connection with you, that she's told you that you still haven't got the answers yet at why she's passed over, but she wants you to understand she will probably make more connection with you now than anybody else, and she will start to give you pieces of the clues to the puzzle of her passing. And she wants you to write that down, and it's going to be like a jigsaw. You're going to have to put it together. It's not going to be easy, if I can put it that way.
Right.
Now, I don't mean to upset you or, anything, but that's the way she presented it to me. So that's what I've got to give you. I've got to give you what she's giving me. So it's sort of, look, it could take you another 2 years before you get all the answers. It doesn't matter, as long as she wants you to know that she accepts and understands that nobody has the answer yet. And that's very important to her, that you tell everybody that, no, we weren't wrong. We haven't been told the right answers yet. She wants that message conveyed.
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay. I'd like to know if there's any message from my mom.
No, she wasn't coming forward. Your friend was the only one that was really pushing a way forward in this limited time that we have. It was only your friend. It's not saying that mum isn't around you and mum doesn't care for you, just mum wasn't, bossy enough today to push forward. So I have to leave it there with you, if you don't mind, Maria. I've got to get on to Michelle. We're talking to Michelle in Brisbane. Hello, Michelle.
I'd really like to know about a little bit about my future, and I'd also like to know a little bit about my ex-partner, and apparently it was a karmic relationship. And so I'd like to know whether or not we will...
I appreciate we've got a limited amount of time here on the show, so I might have to talk reasonably quickly, and it's lovely to connect with someone from Queensland. Okay, now, first off, I think that there is some massive changes coming up for you, and I feel that you need to be aware that doors closed for a reason. Now, this previous relationship, I'm not necessarily getting it was karmic. Look, I'm not going to dispute if someone else has shared with you that they believed it was karmic.
No, that's okay.
We all have different ways that we tune into a relationship and look at whether or not it's karmic. When I look at karmic relationships, I look at karmic relationships that are really very intense, something where there's been at least 3 previous life connections, where you've done this dance at least 3 times before. I wasn't picking that up between you and your previous partner, but I'm not going to rule out the fact that it wasn't a karmic relationship. I just don't think it was one of those super strong...
Been my twin flame.
That's really interfering. Yeah, but it's not really interfering in this lifetime. I think the dance you did together in this lifetime was this lifetime's. I don't think there was any previous leftover lessons that came in that you had to sort out. Are you looking to change your job this side of Christmas, Michelle?
Yes, I am. I'm currently looking for a job right now.
Yeah, well, there's a job coming very, very quickly. We're nearly into November. They were showing me, well, you can appreciate this, they were showing me the horse race here next week, the Melbourne Cup. They're showing me the jobs either just before it or just after it of the race.
Oh, really? That is very exciting, because I've been looking for work everywhere, and being transitioning transgender woman, I have found it very difficult here in Australia to find work.
Yeah, I can appreciate that you would have, but what they were showing me was around the horse race. Well, there's only one horse race that stops the nation here, as you know, and that's next week, I think it is. So it's around that time. So it's certainly in the month of November. I don't think it's going into December. And I feel initially it's going to be a part-time or a casual job, which will lead to a more full-time permanent situation. But that to me is just the start of many changes that are coming towards you. There's a new job, new place of living, and a new relationship. So it's sort of like everything's all coming together at once. And I think you're finally finding peace in yourself, Michelle.
Yes, I have. Since I started to transition, I've become so much happier in myself.
That's wonderful news. And, the people that still stay with you are the ones that are your true friends, and those that don't, well, you just say la vie.
Yeah, so true, so true. I lost a lot of friends, and I cannot blame them for not
Yeah, but you
being
know
with
who
me
your true
anymore
friends
because
are. Yeah, but you know
Sorry?
who your true friends are now, Michelle, and that's the important thing. I'd like to take the opportunity to wish you very well on your journey ahead, but I know you're going to be fine. And we've come to the end of the show, and this is the last one I'll be doing on a Tuesday night here for A1R Psychic Radio on Moonstruck TV as we transition next week into our daytime time slot. So it will be 5 p.m. Eastern USA time. Here in Australia, it will be sunrise time. It'll be 6 a.m. here on the Gold Coast. So if you're in Melbourne, it'll be 7 o'clock, or in Sydney, it'll be 7 o'clock. I'm really, really, really excited about it. So enjoy Halloween. Have a great week. Don't eat too many chockies and candies and things like that. It's not good for your teeth. But really enjoy the time, and don't forget to sort of try and connect with your passed over loved ones, because this is really the time when they are there, they are listening. And don't forget to put something nice out for them to nibble on and have a little drink as well, because they like to think that they're important and part of the celebration. I'm one of these people that believes just because they're passed over doesn't mean that they don't celebrate birthdays, Christmases and Easters and Halloweens, and like to be part of the festivities as well. I always put a plate and a glass out for them, even though they're not here, and then I tease them about they didn't eat much, but that's all part of the fun. But you do what feels right to you, and have a happy Halloween, and I hope you can join us next week in our brand new time slot, as I said, 5 p.m. Eastern USA, 6 a.m. sunrise here on the Gold Coast. Bye for now.